Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Gurok here, your casual gamer dad, coming at you quietly with another Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker review video. This time we're coming at you guys with the patch 6.3 review. As always, this review is purely my opinion, and I'm only going to be reviewing aspects of the patch that I am doing / will be doing or interest me, because anything related to extremes or savage or anything that I just don't regularly do, if I don't do them, I'm not going to review them, because it's not fair. Like, it's not fair for me to judge the savage tier of rating if I'm not doing it. Like, how can I, right? Baby. Anyway, before we dive in, if you want to take a look at the full patch notes for patch 6.3, they're going to be in the description below, so feel free to check them out and give a read if you want to see anything that maybe I missed, or just stuff that I didn't really talk about, because there's going to be a few things I just touch on briefly, and a few more things that I'm going to go into depth with. As always, I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as I can. And also just as kind of like a setup in case anyone is new here and you're unfamiliar with how Final Fantasy XIV's patching works. Generally, in the course of an expansion, I guess you could say, we have what I refer to as 0.0 patches. So they're like, you know, like 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. These are your major content patches. This is going to include a lot of stuff. And then you have your midway patches, which are the 0.5 patches. So like 6.1.5, 6.2.5, etc., etc. As far as the major patches go, which is what we're on right now, 6.3, there are two types that you can get. You're going to get a major patch that includes a new tier of savage rating for that expansion, or you're going to get a major patch that includes a new alliance raid. It's one or the other. If you are on a patch that includes a savage tier of rating, you also get a new set of tombstone gear and a new type of tombstone to cap at 450 every week. If it's an alliance raid tier, major patch, you're only going to get the alliance raid and the gear that it drops from there, as well as the opportunity to purchase one upgrade component for the current set of tombstone gear. Currently 6.3 is on the alliance update, so there is no savage raid tier. There's no new set of gear to buy with tombstones, no new tombstones, all that good stuff. Here comes one of my cats. She wants some lap time. Anyhow, so let's dive into the review. We're going to start off, as we always do, with, of course, the main story quest. We have a new chapter in the MSQ, and I gotta say, I believe the last round of MSQ, I gave it like a 7.10, 7 out of 10, something like that, something kind of lowish. Not because the story's bad, but just because since 6.1, we have been in this state that I refer to as the setup state, right? So every story, as someone who has always aspired to be an author and has written many a short story that never went anywhere, of course, in my lifetime, every author comes up with the beginning and an end of a story, and a good author will know how to fill everything in between in the middle. And the beginning of the story is what's known as the setup. You are setting up the story, the setting, the heroes, the villains, etc., etc., etc. And the setup is usually slow, right? It goes like up, 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 and then finally you get to the peak, the climax of the setup, and then it's kind of smooth cruising through the middle until you'll have some dips and rises until you start to get to the end, and then everything should, if you've done it correctly, just go whoop, all the way up to the climax at the end. Right now, as of last patch, we're kind of in the setup phase. We're just kind of going this way, right? Straight line. But I feel like with this chapter, we've gotten some development. I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't want to give away any characters or anything, so no spoilers here, guys. So it's going to be a lot of vague information, but we've got some character development, we've got some light shown onto the ambitions of the big bad and what exactly the plan of attack is on his end versus like how we're gonna handle it. And we're starting on that incline. So I feel like by 6.4 the next chapter is going to start like really cresting that climactic peak of the setup, and by the end of the expansion we're going to be cruising straight into the middle of the story, and then however long Yoshi P and the team decide to carry that middle through however many expansions, like I said, we'll see some dips and rises until we finally get to the climax, kind of like we did with our previous arc, but with the conflict between Hydaelyn and Zodiark and Eorzea and Garlemald, and then of course, you know, sprinkle in some Ascians, and there you go, right? So overall, this MSQ, there was a lot of cutscenes. I watched them all, that's why it took me so long. But overall it took me about 2 to 3 hours total of casually playing, reading the dialogue, listening to the voice acted cutscenes. So about 3 hours total. That's not bad. There's only like 8 to 10 quests to actually do, but just a lot of cutscenes and story to go through, you know, to kind of sift through. And it honestly, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't like, oh, I just want this done, you know what I mean? Overall, I would rate this chapter of the MSQ an 8 out of 10 because it's starting to pick up. It's starting to get good, and I'm starting to get invested. So I'm looking forward to what else is coming, because we're working out of the setup and we're getting through. So it's gonna be good. Like, I know the remainder of Endwalker is going to be all set up story-wise, kind of like how A Realm Reborn was setting everything up for us until the very end, and then when Heaven's Ward hit, it was just hit the ground running right up until now. So I know that's to expect, but I'm excited. They're going in a good direction, and I like it. Of course, with MSQ comes a new dungeon and a new trial, so I'm going to kind of talk about both of them here. No spoilers, but I will say that the new dungeon is a lot more fun than I thought it was. You know, dungeons have kind of become, I don't want to say a meme, but ever since Stormblood, dungeons have become just business as usual every time you see them, right? We see maybe one new mechanic on a boss out of 3 to 4 in each dungeon that gets released, and then excuse me, just trying to adjust here. And then like everything is like you pull 2 packs to the closest barrier, kill those packs, barrier falls, you kill the next 2 packs, then you fight the boss, and then you rinse and repeat all the way to the end of the dungeon. It's just been that pattern all throughout, and I mean, it's a good pattern. I enjoy it. It's simple, it's easy, you can't really go wrong. With the tools that tanks have these days, there's zero fear of dying at this point unless your group's really bad, or you make a mistake on your cooldowns. But I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. Now, not everything in the dungeon is new. I'm not gonna say it's all new and fresh, because there's stuff that we have seen previously. Like, I will spoil one thing: the whole first part, or part of the first entryway of the new dungeon, is very similar to the Tower of Babel dungeon from Endwalker, where like you're riding on a vehicle. But other than that, I mean, the scenery is gorgeous. It's definitely a good looking dungeon. The music's okay, and the boss fights really take it for me, though. I was very, very pleasantly surprised, because they're just like typical mechanics, you know, of don't stand and poop, and don't look at the, you know, stun marker or whatever. But there were quite a few new mechanics that we hadn't seen before, or like were similar to something we had seen but not since like Stormblood or Heaven's Ward. So it was like, oh crap, you know. And I gotta say, it was great, because all 3 bosses in that dungeon had something, had like between 1 to 3 zingers they just threw at you, and you were just like, oh shit. In fact, my group, on the day that I ran it for the first, you know, we were all first timers, we actually wiped on the last boss, because just one of his mechanics, we just were like, wait, what? And then poof, and we were like, ah, crap. I mean, I was still alive, I could have soloed him, but he was at 80% health, so we would have been there for like an hour. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that to my group. But yeah, like, I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. So definitely very good. As far as the new trial goes, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was, I'm going to say, compared to the previous one we got, it's kind of easy. Now, granted, I've only done normal. Will I do extreme? I don't know. Maybe. If I have time, if I have the patience for it. But even if I don't, like, even as far as normal trials go, this one was pretty easy. Like, all the mechanics were pretty intuitive. None of them really hurt too bad. But I will say, even if it was easy, it was fun. It was a beautiful looking fight, and it was definitely fun. And I imagine that the extreme version is definitely going to be fun and much more challenging. But for the now, the one that I can review on, it was fun. Overall ratings for those, I would say, like, for the dungeon, definitely, like, for me, is a 10 out of 10. I would not mind getting that in roulette every day. As far as the trial goes, I'd say it's an 8 out of 10, just because, like, is easy. I could have fallen asleep and still beat the boss. So, but it was good. It was good, but it was easy. Take what you can. Let's see, other content to talk about of note. 2 big things, and then everything else is kind of smaller beyond that. The first big thing is, of course, the new Alliance raid. So in patch 6.3, we've gotten the second chapter of the Alliance raid series, where we go to the ethereal, whatever, heavenly realm and confront the avatars of our deities of the 12. We had 4 of them in the previous one. I think it was like Baragar, Ralgar, Nalthal, and the fiery dancing lady whose name I cannot remember for the life of me, and I don't know why. I could turn on my UI here. Hold on. I'm on my island, so let me see. She's here somewhere. I have her minion, so let's see. Where is she? Aziyama, I think, maybe. Aziyama? Am I saying that right? Do I not have her minion? Oh. No, I'm sure I do. This is the mount guide. That's why. Sorry, I'm terrible. I was like, I'm sure I've got her minion here somewhere. Here it is. Aziyama. Yes. So those were the 4 that we fought in the first chapter. In this chapter, we actually fight 5. We fight 5 of the deities out of the 12. I'm not going to spoil who they are. I'm sure by now everybody already knows who. But I gotta say, like, in the previous version, like, I thought the scenery was okay. The music was nice, especially Nalthal's theme. I was like, whoa, blew me away. And the story of it was like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know, the gods are, you know, they know we seek answers to certain questions, and they're like, well, if you fight us because we haven't had a good fight in a long time, we'll give you what you seek. You know, a friendly competition, not like a, oh, we're gonna smite you, but like a, why not? You're our children, you're strong, let's see if you can handle it. That sort of thing. I was like, yeah, okay. This one, the second chapter of the story actually brought me in, and there were parts of it that were very wholesome, and I actually liked it. I actually read all the text and everything. I didn't skip any of it, and it was good. So I'm looking forward to the 3rd chapter, and I hope it stays on this trend. The raid itself looks amazing. Whatever team was responsible for designing this section of the Alliance raid, fucking big claps for you guys. Big claps. Every area, every arena is beautiful. Absolutely crisp and beautiful. And the music is phenomenal on all ends. And the fights are designed so well. They're not like super challenging, but they're still like hectic enough that you're like, I gotta pay attention. And I won't spoil who it is we're going up against this time around, but I gotta say, god damn it, Square Enix. So many cute goddesses. For real. Just all of them. Just like, here you go. Have all of the beautiful goddesses this time around. Just have fun. That doesn't spoil anything because it's not just all goddesses, so just keep that in mind. And I'm gonna say, I am gonna spoil one thing. If Square Enix doesn't give us the wolf from the final boss, I'm gonna be very angry. I want that wolf as a mount. I will pay money. I will pay real money on the mini mog shop to get that as a mount. And when you guys see it, you'll understand. You'll know what I'm talking about. You'll get it. The Alliance raid, the gear. I'm not crazy about the gear right now, but I said that about the tanking stuff, and I kind of previewed it on my character in game, and I changed my mind because I was like, seeing it in game was way different than seeing a screenshot. So I'm still gonna give the Alliance raid 10 out of 10. Total 10 out of 10. The whole package, even though I'm not a whole fan of the gear, but it works. It works. And the final major thing to really talk about that I'm not gonna go too in depth about it because I'm gonna do a separate video about this in particular, but it has to be mentioned that they did do a big Paladin rework. I say big. They made a lot of changes. Like I said, I'm gonna link the patch notes in the description below, so check them out and you can get the full digs. Basically, it kind of changes the way Paladin plays a little bit. The major highlights of it being that fight or flight now is just a damage increase. It's not just a physical damage, it's just a damage increase. Requiescat is no longer tied to a magical burst phase, so to speak, so you're not going to pop Rec and then do a bunch of holy spirits or holy circles. Goring Blade is no longer a dot, and it's no longer part of your combo, so Paladin is now just another 1-2-3 combo tank. It's just an OGCD that does a bunch of damage. Sheltron / Holy Sheltron is now just flat damage reduction. And they've given us what's it called? Not Rampart, Bulwark back. So Paladins now have Bulwark as an additional cooldown, and it does the same thing it used to. It just makes you block all the attacks. Those are the big major highlights. I'm gonna make a special Endwalker job review episode, sort of like a job re-review, going over more in depth the new Paladin and how it works. And I mean, I haven't played around with it too much. I've smacked a dummy around a little bit with it, but it feels good, just different, just weird. And I have a few complaints about it, but nothing too major that I'm going to go into here, but it was worth mentioning. I would say right now it's like a 7 out of 10 for the rework for me, but we'll go more in depth as far as, you know, when I do the re-review. Smaller things I'd like to mention before I sign off here and close this out. The PvP series, a new one has begun, so let me bring up my UI again. So this needs to be said because people still confuse this. PvP season and PvP series are two completely different things, guys. Series is an experience-based reward track that gives you goodies for hitting certain milestones. The season is ranked PvP only that gives you a reward at the end of the season. So at the beginning of any major patch, we will get a new level series with a reward track to follow that you have from the time the major content patch hits to the next one. So this one, Series 3, will run all the way until 6.4, and then it'll go to Series 4. And the rewards for this time around are an emote, which is whatever, some more portrait frames, okay, apparently a mount. I have no idea what this mount is, but I'm very excited to see what it is, and I hope it doesn't get spoiled for me, but I know it will. And most importantly, at rank 25, we are getting another armor glamour. And I've seen pictures of it, and it's kind of like the opposite of the Series 1 armor. So the Series 1 armor was that, like, let's see, can I do glam plates here? Yes, it was this one. This, not minus the axe. The Archfiend armor. This was the glamour from Series 1. This is more of like a holy, like paladin-y, griffin looking armor set, and it looks awesome. So needless to say, I'm not going to grind it hard, but I am going to grind up to 25 for this. So be ready for that shit, guys. No excuse for me not to get those 2 PvP videos that I owe you for Monk and Paladin, so you will get those, I promise. Also, another small minor thing I would like to mention that they added is another set of craftable armor and weapons. They are eye level 620. They can be HQ crafted and penta melded. Why they did it at this stage, I'm not sure. Usually they introduce craftable armor and weapons on the major patches when they have a new Savage Raid tier, because people will use pentamelded crafted gear to progress in that tier. But I don't know. I'm a little confused as to why they did that at this eye level, but I'm sure there's a reason that I have not found out yet. 2 more minor things. The new Beast Tribe quests that they announced and the new stage of our amazing relic weapons will not be happening until the midway patch. So when I do my 6.3.5 review, you guys will be getting the lowdown on both of those. But for now, they are missing in action. Is what it is, guys. So they are going to be kicking us off soon to do maintenance, and I've yammered on enough. For me, overall rating for patch 6.3, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. I mean, a couple things gave it a little bit of a lower score, but overall it's a 9 out of 10. It's very enjoyable. It'll keep me back here for a little while until, you know, another content level before 3.5. So I hope you guys get a chance to jump in and explore yourself and enjoy it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything else you want to add, put it in the comment section down below. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to see more from me, if you want to follow all of my Final Fantasy XIV videos, any other videos that I post up, Skyrim, Graveyard Keeper, Stardew Valley, 7 Days to Die, World of Warcraft, please hit that subscribe button. Help my channel grow. And as always, guys, it's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you all in the next video. See ya.